Imagine waking up and realizing you don't live on land anymore. No traffic, no pollution, just endless ocean stretching to the horizon. Every single day. Your morning walk isn't through city streets, but along a sunlit deck surrounded by seagulls and sea breeze. Groceries delivered by drone. Work done remotely through satellite internet. Your neighbors, people from every corner of the planet. Welcome to life on a floating city, a world where cruise ships aren't vacations, they're permanent homes, where thousands of people live, work, study, and even raise families, all without ever setting foot on land. It sounds like science fiction, but what if it's closer than we think? Tech billionaires, architects, and even governments are already sketching the blueprint for ocean cities. Self-sustaining, AI-powered, and completely independent from land-based countries. Some see it as freedom, a chance to build a new kind of world, a clean slate for humanity, floating above the chaos of nations. But others warn it might become something very different. Because when you take society off land, you don't escape its problems. You just isolate them in the middle of the sea. So today, we're diving deep into a question that may define the future of humanity. What if cruise ships became permanent cities? So stay tuned to our channel, The Curious Corner. It sounds like a wild fantasy, but pieces of this future already exist. Right now, there are people who haven't touched land in years. Not sailors, not cruise tourists, but residents. Take the World, a $500 million residential cruise ship where the wealthy literally own their apartments on board. It's a private neighborhood that circles the globe every few months, complete with restaurants, tennis courts, and even a golf simulator. Then there's the upcoming MV narrative, designed to house more than 1,000 permanent residents, with schools, hospitals, and even mail delivery. It's being marketed as a floating city for global citizens. No return tickets, no home port, just life, permanently at sea, and they're not alone. Architects are working on futuristic projects like Oceanic City and Freedom Ship, massive marine metropolises capable of supporting tens of thousands of people. Floating solar farms would power them. Vertical gardens would feed them. Desalination plants would turn seawater into drinking water. The dream? A new civilization. One not bound by geography or government. Imagine a place with no borders, no taxes, no politics, where your address is the latitude and longitude of wherever the ship happens to be that day. To some, it's the ultimate escape from a broken system. To others, it's a billionaire's playground, a modern Noah's Ark for the ultra-rich, sailing above a world that's sinking. But before we imagine these ships as paradise, we need to ask the question no one seems to be thinking about. How would this world actually work? Who provides electricity? Who governs? Who decides the laws, the rights, the taxes? Because turning the ocean into a city isn't just about engineering. It's about rewriting civilization itself. Suppose power could come from hybrid systems, solar panels stretched across decks, wind turbines rising from the bow, and backup generators humming deep below. Fresh water would be made from desalination plants, squeezing drinkable water out of the ocean itself. And food? Flown or shipped in from ports around the world, or maybe grown on board through vertical farms and hydroponic gardens. But governance, that's where things get complicated. A floating city wouldn't belong to any single nation. Most would likely be privately owned, run by corporations, not governments. Instead of elections, there'd be contracts. Instead of taxes, there'd be membership fees. Break the rules. And instead of prison, you could simply be removed at the next port. In other words, these cities wouldn't be democracies. They'd be floating corporations, powered by innovation, but governed by profit. So, what would it actually take for a cruise ship to become a permanent city? Believe it or not, it's legally possible, but it would push the limits of international law in ways the world has never seen before. You see, every ship in the world sails under something called a flag state, the country it's registered in. That little flag at the stern, It decides which nation's laws apply on board, from taxes to labor rights. Most cruise ships fly flags of convenience, places like Panama, Liberia, or the Bahamas, because they offer cheap taxes, fewer regulations, and looser labor laws. Now imagine a ship the size of a small city, permanently at sea, never docking, registered under a nation that barely monitors it. Technically, it could become a law unto itself. It wouldn't belong to any one country. No property taxes, no national police, no voting rights, unless the owners decided to allow it. But here's where things get complicated. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea says that no ship can claim sovereignty, meaning it can't legally become a new country. So while a floating city could operate independently, it would still have to pretend to belong somewhere. In simple words, you can't create a new nation on water, but you can create something that looks and feels like one, hidden beneath the loopholes of maritime law. That's exactly what groups like the Seasteading Institute are working on, pushing for semi-autonomous ocean communities where residents follow their own laws, currencies, and even healthcare systems. But freedom comes with a price, because if something goes wrong, say a crime, an accident, or an environmental disaster, who takes responsibility? The flag state, the company that built it, or the people living on board? No one knows. Because so far, humanity's never had a nation that could sail away when things got messy. And this brings us to the next big question. Even if the law allowed it, could such a city actually function? At first, maybe. Imagine gleaming towers on endless blue water, a self-sustaining paradise powered by solar grids, wind turbines, and innovation. But beneath the surface, problems start to ripple. Supplies have to keep coming from land. Food, medicine, spare parts. A single storm could cripple trade routes or cut communications for weeks. And when everything depends on corporate funding, what happens when profits dip? Who gets left behind when running water and Wi-Fi costs more than people can pay? Because unlike a normal city, there's no backup plan at sea, no neighboring towns, no emergency teams coming over the bridge. When things go wrong, they go wrong alone. Then there's the human side. Could people really live their whole lives surrounded by nothing but ocean? No forests, no seasons, no escape from the same metal walls and recycled air. A place that's beautiful at first glance, but slowly starts to feel like a cage drifting in the middle of nowhere. And yet, some would still call it freedom. A new beginning for humanity, a chance to start fresh, untied to borders or politics. Maybe that's the paradox of it all. To live freely, you'd have to surrender the very systems that protect your freedom. To build a perfect world, you'd have to accept it might never feel like home. Because turning cruise ships into cities isn't just a question of engineering. It's a question of human nature. So the next time you see a cruise ship on the horizon, ask yourself, is it just a vessel of luxury? Or the first glimpse of a future where cities no longer stand on land? Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe our channel, The Curious Corner, where the ocean's mysteries and humanity's ambitions never stop colliding.